Joyner to lead us in prayer. If you're able, please stand.
Let us bow. Almighty God, from whom all blessings flow, we thank you tonight, God, as we come to this beautiful place where the mantle is being passed, oh God. Continue of service, oh God, as those that have loved this community and served this community. And the likes of David Combs, Lois Watkins, Tom Rogers. We pray your manifold blessings upon them, God, as their journey continue, God. And as we are united tonight, God, with Sandy Roberson, God, T.J. Walker, Lige, Daughtridge, we pray, God, that you would unite us for the good of your people in this city and in this region. We pray, God, that we will move from tonight to a greater place of unity, strength, and holiness, and the strength for this city and this region. Bless us with your presence as we go forth now. In Christ Jesus' name we pray. That the Redeemer of the Lord say amen. 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 Amen.
Ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilman Nye.
Here.
Blackwell.
Here.
Joyner.
Here.
Watkins.
Here.
Rogers.
Here.
Bullock.
Here.
And Miller.
Here.
Got a large crowd tonight. Normally when you come in, there's a box over here with our agendas. I'm not sure if we have enough. If not, please share with your neighbor. We're on item number 4 now. This is approval of the minutes of our regular meeting of the City Council, which was held on November the 25th. Are there any corrections or additions to those minutes? If not, then they'll stand as submitted to you. Item number 5 is approval of minutes of a special called meeting, committee of the whole meeting that was held on November the 25th. We went over a closed session for attorney-client and personnel matters. We went over and reviewed information on a peer review panel that the city has. And then we also went over the internal auditor and recommended an amendment to the reporting structure to provide the internal auditor report to the manager, but have the ability to report directly to the city council without fear of reprisal, and that the council receive updates no less than quarterly. At this point, this is our time that we reorganize the city. We have swearing in of some of our new mayor and council members, but I'm going to take this opportunity at this point to recognize Lois Watkins and Tom Rogers, who have been council members, done a great job, and they both like to make a remark.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to appreciate the public, the city of Rocky Mount residents, for allowing me to serve you the last 13 and a half years. As I said to the mayor, the last meeting has been a bitter-sweet experience, but it's been sweeter than bitter for the overall period. And I just want to say that, well, first of all, let me back up a little bit because my family's here. Would you please stand? My son, Dahlia Watkins, his wife, Phaedra Watkins, my beautiful 2 grandchildren, Asa Watkins and Abel Watkins. Would you all please receive them? So this is a bittersweet moment, but I just want to appreciate being able to serve you. And I did my very best. I'm not a person that does a lot of public speaking. I really prefer to work behind the scenes. I've done that for most of the last 13 years. But I'm really pleased with the outcomes. I'm pleased with the work that we have accomplished in this city that goes beyond my 13 years, but started much longer than that. And I think this council has worked together very well for the period I've been here. And I was thinking about today that I can count on one hand, maybe 1.5 hands, the number of times that we, had a split vote. But for the most part, we have been able to reach a consensus and vote together. And I hope that this upcoming council will be able to resolve issues in that manner, and so that they can present to the community as a united front to be able to resolve issues. And so I'm very pleased to have served you, and I appreciate all your support. And I thank you for your prayers as I enter to my next chapter.
I've been humbled to be elected 3 times by the voters of Ward 5, and I have been honored and privileged to serve all the citizens of the city for the past 12 years. I didn't seek this job or the idea of running for this job. I was asked by some others. And when I thought about the last 12 years, by my account, I've attended over 400 meetings in this building, and hundreds of other events, meetings, etc. There have been uncountable hours of study, thinking, phone calls, conversations, and times of worry and concern for doing the right thing. In spite of my best intent and effort, I know that my efforts have fallen short many times. As humans, we have our frailties. This council did try to do things to embrace the 21st century and make the city a better place for all. I'm proud of our efforts, however they might have been imperfect. I'm glad for the opportunity to have worked with the mayor and my council colleagues. We didn't always agree, as Councilwoman Wyken said, but I respected each for their passion, commitment, and efforts. I'm grateful for the opportunity to have met so many hardworking, dedicated, professional employees that work each day to add to the quality of life of our city that we all enjoy. So much we do, so much of what they do, we take for granted, and yet it really means so much to us. And we owe them a debt of gratitude far beyond their paychecks. Also, I've had the opportunity to meet so many people from across the city that I might not have met otherwise. A sentiment expressed to me years ago by the late Mayor Fred Turnage. This exposure to so many revealed our shared humanity and reinforced to me what we're about as a council. I hope as a community we strive to not let the hyper-partisanship that is engulfing our nation's discourse to affect us locally. We must build real relationships with people that we don't know. And we must also always remember that civility usually allows for more listening and understanding than sharp rhetoric or shrill comments. I don't mean to sound patronizing, but encouraging, and I often have difficulty myself. So at the end of my time here on the council, I owe a special thanks to a lot of people. The city managers, the city clerks, the city attorney, and all the city staff with whom I've worked. The many friends whose advice and encouragement was often needed. And my family, especially my wife Bridget, who I know came, I'm not sure she's in this room, she's outside. But my wife Bridget, as well as our sons and my parents. Their sacrifice has been real in terms of my time away from them, both physically and mentally, and for experiencing the effects of the burden that I too often could not hide despite my best efforts. Cannot express enough my gratitude for their support and understanding. And in closing, I want to express my congratulations to the new mayor, the new council members, and those re-elected. And while this is a political process that you will all engage in, Your role is as a public servant of all the citizens of the city. With that in mind, your actions and direction will lead to the best result. Good luck in all your work ahead. Thank you.
This is my last opportunity. I made some remarks at the last meeting, but I do think it's worth repeating. Again, I want to congratulate our new mayor and the city council members that were elected, and again, the council members that were re-elected, and congratulate all of them. I really want to again thank the employees of the city of Rocky Mount. We have 900 employees, and the city doesn't run by itself. A lot of these people are hard-working people, and like Tom said, a lot of us take it for granted on a day-to-day basis, but I want to thank them for all of their efforts during my time as mayor. You get a different perspective when you're serving up here than maybe just a citizen that just sometimes takes it for granted. I have a different appreciation for it now, and again, I want to thank them. I also want to thank the city managers that I've worked with and their staff. It's not an easy job, and I know that as I see what happens on a day-to-day basis. Particularly want to thank the city clerk's office. She does a lot, her office does a lot for the mayor and the city council members, so again, I want to especially thank her for their efforts. And council members that I've worked with over the years. I think one of them's going to swear some of you in. Councilmember Wiggins was here when I started. But I do want to thank the council members. It does take a lot of time and effort, and public service is something that you have to do. It does take time and effort, and so while you may not always agree with them, they are certainly putting a lot of time and effort in on behalf of the citizens of Rocky Mount. And the citizens of Rocky Mount, I want to thank you again for electing me as your mayor and city council, and as mayor of Rocky Mount. It's been a great opportunity for me in my life to do this. I think Rocky Mount is a great place to live. I believe that when I ran for city council. I believe it now as I'm ending my term as your mayor. At times we may not always agree with each other, but there are some great people in this community, and we've got a lot of really great things going on in this community right now. And most of all, I want to thank my wife, Catherine. When people say you couldn't do it without them, I couldn't have done it without her. A lot of times you do go home and you're not always in the best mood. Things may not have gone like you thought, but she's always been very supportive. I do want to thank her again publicly for that. So, with that being said, I want to move on to the next part of it, and that's the organization part. At this time, I'd like to call forward, this is for your newly elected mayor and city council member, Honorable Quentin T. Sumner, Senior Resident Superior Court Judge for Judicial District 7A. And we're going to call up, we're going to do it individually, but we're going to call up our new mayor, Sandy Roberson, Jr. If you'll come forward.
Solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution and laws of the state of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith, that you will faithfully perform the duties of the office of mayor of the city of Rocky Mount, which you are now about to enter, according to the best of your skill and ability to God.
I do.
Ward 4.
Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution and laws of the state of North Carolina, and consistent therewith, and that you will faithfully perform the duties of the office of council member, City of Rocky Mount, which you are about to enter, according to the best of your skill and abilities of the Lord?
Now we're going to call on our former council member and now Judge Lamont Wiggins, resident Superior Court Judge, Judicial District 7B, and he is going to swear in Andre Knight and Richard Joyner. So first we have Richard come down, or Andre come on down first, and then we'll get Richard.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith, and that you will faithfully perform the duties of the office of council member of the City of Rocky Mount, on which you are now about to enter according to the best of your skill and ability, so help you God? I will. Congratulations.
All get your exercise tonight. Now we're going to ask Andre Knight to come down. Please raise your right hand.
We're in church, I'm getting the choir right.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith, and that you will faithfully perform the duties of the office of council member of the City of Rocky Mount, on which you are now about to enter according to the best of your skill and ability, so help you God?
I will.
Congratulations.
And now we're going to ask Judge Pell Cooper, the District Court Judge, Judicial 7, to come up and swear in Lige Daughtridge.
So raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith, and that you will faithfully perform the duties of the office of council member of the City of Rocky Mount, on which you are now about to enter, according to the best of your skill and ability. So help you God. Congratulations.
We are now going to have the seating of our new council members, and so at this point in time, I'd ask them to come forward, and I am going to present our new mayor with his gavel. And so at this point in time, I'd ask the new city council members to come forward, and Tom and Lois, I guess this is our last time, so again, we'll step down. Been an honor and a privilege to serve as your mayor, but I am happy tonight. Sandy Roberson, our new mayor, I know he'll do a great job. I'm looking forward to working with him any way that I can, and I wish all of them the best of luck. It's a great city to be in, and again, congratulations, and here's your gavel.
I'll ask the city clerk to take the roll of the new council.
Councilmember Knight,
Here.
Blackwell,
Here.
Joyner,
Here.
Walker,
Here.
Daughtridge,
Here.
Bullock,
Here.
and Miller.
Here.
Okay, item 12A, recognition of outgoing mayor David Comi. Could you come down, Mayor Comi? It's my opportunity to return the favor. So I want to read this to everybody. Resolution expressing appreciation to Mayor David W. Combs for faithful and dedicated service to the city of Rocky Mount. Whereas David W. Combs, a Rocky Mount native, was first elected to a 4-year term as mayor of the city of Rocky Mount and took his oath of office on December 10th, 2007. And whereas David W. Combs was reelected to 2 additional 4-year terms as mayor, serving a total of 3 4-year terms and collectively for 12 years. And whereas prior to serving as mayor, David W. Combs served as the city of Rocky Mount as a member of the city council representing Ward 5 from December 15th, 2003 until December 10th, 2007. And whereas David W. Combs provided distinguished service, bringing honor and recognition to the city at local, state, and regional level, and served as vice chairman of the Carolinas Gateway Partnership, chairman of the Rocky Mountain Business Development Authority, as a member of the board of directors of the North Carolina League of Municipalities, and as a member of the board of directors and executive committee of the North Carolina Metropolitan Mayors Coalition, also serving as treasurer. And whereas David W. Combs has provided outstanding leadership to the city of Rocky Mount, leading the city with a calm demeanor, with patience and integrity, often serving to facilitate a consensus among parties with opposing views in such a way that all parties felt heard. And Whereas David W. Combs did not seek re-election in 2019, and the city of Rocky Mount is desirous of his expressing its sincere appreciation and respect for his years of distinguished service and faithful commitment to this community. Now therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and city council of the city of Rocky Mount hereby commend and honor David W. Combs for his tireless dedication and faithful commitment, and express heartfelt thanks and appreciation for his leadership. Thank you, sir. Here's your guy, sir. Thank you. I would like to ask Councilwoman Lois Watkins to please come down. This is a resolution expressing appreciation to E. Lois Watkins for faithful and dedicated service to the city of Rocky Mount. Whereas E. Lois Watkins served the city of Rocky Mount as a member of the City Council representing Ward 4 from March 8, 2007 until December 9, 2019. And whereas during her tenure, E. Lois Watkins discharged the responsibilities of her office dutifully, thoughtfully, and faithfully, with dignity and courage. And whereas E. Lois Watkins conscientiously studied and deliberated all issues that came before her as a member of the City Council and made decisions that contributed significantly to the economic, social, and planned growth of the city of Rocky Mount. And whereas E. Lois Watkins, although strong and devoted advocate for the citizens of Ward 4, fully understood that decisions made as a member of the City Council would impact the entire citizenry of the city and cast her votes according to what she deemed to be in the best interest of all citizens. And whereas during her tenure, E. Lois Watkins served 1 2-year terms as Mayor Pro-tem in 2010 and 2018, 2 2-year terms as Treasurer from 2011 to 2013, and 2013 and 2015. As a member of the Tar River Transit Governing Board from 2017 through 2019, and as an alternate member of the Upper Coastal Plain Council of Governments from 2009 to 2019, and as a member of the STEP Board for a 1-year term in 2015. Whereas E. Lois Watkins did not seek re-election in 2019, and the City of Rocky Mount is desirous of expressing its sincere appreciation and respect for her loyal, conscientious, and dedicated service as a member of the Rocky Mount City Council. Be it resolved that this resolution shall spread upon the pages of this proceeding, and copies shall be presented to E. Lois Watkins in grateful appreciation of her service to the City of Rocky Mount. Tom Rogers, please. This is a resolution expressing appreciation to Tom Rogers for faithful and dedicated service to the City of Rocky Mount. Whereas Tom Rogers served the City of Rocky Mount as a member of the City Council representing Ward 5 from December 10, 2007 until December 9, 2019, and whereas, during his tenure, Tom Rogers discharged the responsibilities of his office dutifully, thoughtfully, and faithfully, and with dignity and courage. And whereas Tom Rogers conscientiously studied and deliberated all issues that came before him as a member of the City Council and made decisions that contributed significantly to the economic, social, and planned growth of the city of Rocky Mount. And whereas Tom Rogers, although a strong and devoted advocate for the citizens of Ward 5, fully understood that decisions made as a member of City Council would impact the entire citizenry of the city and cast his votes according to what he deemed to be in the best interest of all citizens. And whereas during his tenure, Tom Rogers served 3 one-year terms as Mayor Pro Tem in 2009, 2015, and 2019. As a member of the Upper Coastal Plain Brownfields Coalition Steering Committee from 2013 and 2019, and as a member of the Transportation Advisory Committee from 2018 through 2019. Whereas Tom Rogers did not seek re-election in 2019, and the city of Rocky Mount is desirous of expressing its sincere appreciation and respect for his loyal, conscientious, and dedicated service as a member of the Rocky Mount City Council. Be it resolved that this resolution shall be spread upon the pages of this proceeding, and a copy shall be presented to Tom Rogers in grateful appreciation of his service to the city of Rocky Mount. Thank you. Well, it's often the case, if you're first at bat at duty, you jump a little ahead sometimes if you're not careful. So I'm going to ask now City Council if somebody would make a motion to approve all those resolutions. So moved. Is there a second? Second. Is there a need for discussion? Had every chance to be very embarrassing, but I'll ask for votes by voice. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Okay, now we have the election of the city treasurer. 2-year term expires in 2021.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to nominate Councilwoman Chris Miller for that position.
Councilwoman Chris Miller has been nominated. Are there any others? Is there a need for discussion? Being none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Item 15, the election of Mayor Pro Tem will serve a 1-year term that expires December of 2020. I open the floor for nominations.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to nominate Councilmember Andre Knight. Second motion.
Okay, Councilperson Blackwell has nominated Andre Knight, seconded by Councilperson Joyner. Are there any other nominations? Being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay. Item 16 is the administration of the oath of the Mayor Pro Tem by the Honorable Quentin T. Sumner, Senior Resident Superior Court Judge, Judicial District 7A.
You solemnly affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution and laws of the state of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith, that you will faithfully perform the duties of the office of Mayor Pro Tem of the city of Rocky Mount, which you are now about to enter, according to the best of your skill and ability, so help you God. I do. Thank you.
At this time, I will ask family members to please install the new nameplates. 17 on the agenda. Item 17 on the agenda is the community update by the city manager, Rochelle T. Tone, Small Tone.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and the public that is joining with us tonight. First of all, I'd like to say that this is the last official meeting of the City Council in 2019. As a reminder, the second meeting traditionally that's held each month has been canceled. And so with that, I'd like to wish everyone a very happy and safe holiday season and look forward to a new year here in Rocky Mountain. First of all, we have for you just some information. One, residents are invited to Ward 1 Community Day from 6 to 9 p.m. on Saturday, December the 14th at the Booker T Theater. During this informative meet and greet, Ward 1 Councilmember Andre Knight will answer inquiries constituents might have regarding projects and initiatives of the city and Ward 1. This celebration will be the third of its kind this year. Ward 4 held an event in August, and Ward 3 held a community event in September. Secondly, Langston Hughes' Black Nativity, a gospel song play featuring an all-local cast, will be held December 13th and 14th at 7 o'clock p.m. and on December the 15th at 2 p.m. Tickets are available online by visiting the imperialcenter.org or by calling the center itself at 252-972-1266. As a reminder, city offices will be closed Tuesday, December the 24th through Thursday, December the 26th, and also on Wednesday, January the 1st, 2020. Our Public Works Department will collect garbage, recycling, and yard waste by regular schedule on December the 24th and December the 26th. Items that are normally collected on Wednesday, December the 25th and January 1st will be collected the following Saturdays, December the 28th and January the 4th. The Tar River Transit will not operate December the 25th or January 1st. And then finally, the South Rocky Mount and Booker T. Washington Community Centers are in Wilson Gym, the Rocky Mount Senior Center, and the Imperial Center for the Arts and Sciences will also be closed on December the 24th through December the 26th and also on January 1st. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Item 18 is petitions to be received from the public. I have a list here. This is the petitions from the public portions of our city council meeting. This is an opportunity for the public to comment, and thank you for coming to the city council meeting to share your views. We value all citizen input. Please be aware that sign-in sheets must be presented to the officer prior to the opening of petitions from the public. If you'd like to address the council, you need to sign up. And if you did not get a form to sign up, please raise your hand and someone will bring the form to you. Any comments should be directed to the council as a whole and not to an individual council member or city staff. This is your opportunity to raise a question or present a request to the council. However, in most cases, council members will not respond to public comments, but may refer a matter to the city manager or staff for follow-up. We ask that you speak from the podium in a civil, non-argumentative, and respectful manner. Personal attacks which have the potential to disrupt the meeting will not be tolerated, and it will be asked to sit down or be removed from the meeting. Time will be monitored in order to give everyone an opportunity to speak, and you will have 3 minutes. If an organized group is present to speak on a common issue, please designate one person to present the group's comment. If your comments are in regard to an item that is the subject of a public hearing, please wait until that item is introduced and then speak. Time will also be monitored. If your comments are in regard to an evidentiary hearing, additional time may be granted. First person, Bronson Williams.
Want to
first say good evening to the mayor and council and fellow residents here in Rocky Mount. Now, of course, that the preliminaries are out of the way. Of course, you remember that we continue our work. The momentum that exists in this city today is something that we all should be proud of and something we all should share. However, sometimes the shameful conditions of America would not allow us to support or appreciate minorities in leadership. This is not a knock at other races, but supported by documented data. There are those who may take offense to such a statement. Ultimately, that's your right, and those are free to exercise their rights as well. Oftentimes, we hear about self-serving interests, and it seems to only apply to those we dislike and not the total body. Now, I'm not implying that this has occurred, but to serve notice, to be mindful of not getting caught up in it. Folks will use you, and when they're done, they will throw you away. Each of you have been elected and have the fiduciary responsibility to all residents of Rocky Mount. The reality is, our participation in the electoral process is not well. In fact, one could say that it's sick. I'm asking this governing body and all members of our community to work together to make it well. It goes back to selling Rocky Mount success stories. Rocky Mount is not as bad as those would have us to believe. We must overcome conservative versus liberal views and stick to solid facts. Take, for instance, yesterday, there was an article in the Rocky Mount Telegram. The writer went to state, I quote, Roberson's campaign humorously displayed a Santa Claus at the top of the headquarters and irked Williams to the point he fired off a letter to a telegram expressing what he claimed to be a disrespect to citizens, end quote. I'm sure many of us have heard a disrespectful joke or a tasteless one. But we must recognize biases in media and not subscribe to the angry black man narrative. Not to mention the assumption that I claimed. Immediately such statement took me back to 1846. Dred Scott case in which Mr. Scott was told that he had no right to sue in federal court. And me being a descendant of Africa, free and not enslaved, a person is still treated as a non-citizen in America. Virtually, some blacks and other minorities feel that they have limited rights or reduced value. We must not subscribe to such a narrative. I ask this mayor and council, despite what America is doing, we must show value of all members of our community. We must continue to build value in all residents in this city. Truth is, some may need more help than others. And in closing.
Thank you, Mr. Williams.
Okay.
Next will be Nehemiah Smith. After Nehemiah will be Darlene Spencer Harris, followed by Tom Harris. Please give your address, please.
1620 East Virginia Street. Good evening to the council manager and mayor. This past week I was afforded the opportunity to be a part of two important events in our city, the 2019 North Carolina Food Council Gathering and the 50th anniversary celebration of the Rocky Mount OIC. For me, they were both transformative events in that they corrected wrong thinking and reaffirmed right motivations. This evening, we have seated a new council and mayor. The inevitability of change has come to the shallow halls of city government. But I pray that we are careful and will not allow the change to disrupt the phenomenal progress of the previous administration. As always, the conversation must start with what is best for all residents. It is a reality that the black community, the majority community at more than 67%, and the poor have most often been the least, the lost, and the left out when initiating and holding discussions about what is best for the city. So having a black agenda and poor people's agenda for the city should never be beyond the pale of any consideration that is brought before this council. And it is my sincere prayer that no one gets caught up in chasing the bag. Chasing the bag has historically landed the chaser in a trick sack. Exempli gratia, the late Frank Ballas Jr., Louise Anders, William Jefferson, Kwame Kilpatrick, and others. That said, our progress must continue. However, some of our focus and most of our language must change. Many communities in Rocky Mount are food deserts, and we must strive to make them food oases. We must actively address the cause of poverty, unemployment, inadequate housing, and violence in our city without insulting the sensibilities of the people we serve. More police on the street is not the answer to quelling violence. Being a former educator, I have more than a rudimentary understanding of how education funding works. However, I am baffled as to how we are going to divert city dollars to fund our public school systems. Additionally, we must never allow charity to become an addiction for those who are on the receptive end. We must never employ the language of oppression and pass it off as good intention. Good intentions oftentimes lead to failed initiatives. Our communities are not vulnerable, they experience vulnerability. We don't empower people, we help people to use and define their power. Our communities are not underserved, they're too often under-resourced. It's not this community or that community, they are all our communities. Mobile, Alabama is 796 miles and 3 states away. Let's deal with our issues using the intellectual capital we so adeptly possess. Thinly veiled agendas and attacks on councilpersons and the manager and her staff by some media and social media must be marshaled to the margins of any substantive discussion or conversation. Ali jacta est, the die is cast, but the work must continue. Blue denim overalls were worn by civil rights activists to dramatize how little had been accomplished since Reconstruction. I wear them to recognize how much work we have yet to do. Godspeed.
Ms. Darlene Spencer Harris. If you state your name and give your address, please.
Good evening. My name is Daughtridge Spencer Harris. I reside at 537 Arlington Street here in Roberson. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude to the outgoing council and to welcome the new council. Hopefully, with the new council, things that us citizens have on our agendas that we would like to see done, that we are including in these decisions and these strategies and the planning and so forth, and that we are not excluded. Because the council cannot come into our neighborhoods and tell us what we need or what we want or what they want to do. They have to hear us, the people, tell you what we want, what we expect. We are not looking for charity. We do not need a handout. All we need is the resources that are available to us that we are entitled to. Some neighborhoods need it more than others, and that's fine. But at the same token, you have to listen to the people. My other thing, concern is that we, the citizens, we're like dissatisfied with the mass incarceration. The idea of building more prisons, more jails is not the solution to our problem here in Rocky Mount. Part of the solution to our problem is to get the young people engaged, get them educated, have programs for them, things to keep them engaged so they know what's going on, so they're not looking to go rob somebody because they had the opportunity to go to work. Transportation here is terrible. If you don't have a car, you don't have a way to work unless you're paying somebody an astronomical amount of money to get you to your place of employment. So instead of feeding your family, you're paying for transportation. We need to look at expanding the transportation issue here because there's 3 shifts: the morning shift, the afternoon shift, and the night shift. And if you work that night shift, you do not have transportation to work unless you have a friend or someone that can provide it for you. So with all these things that I bring to you tonight, I just want you to let it sink in, and I'll be back up here again to express some more concerns, and hopefully we can work together, and you'll listen to me, I'll listen to you, and we'll make this city great. Thank you.
Tom Harris. And after Mr. Harris, Gloria Davis and Linwood Gallup. If you don't mind.
Good evening. Mr. Joyner, I appreciate the prayer that you opened this session with. You used the word unity, and that is certainly something that we all need to strive. I'm a 45-year retired banker. The last 30 years I worked outside of Rocky Mount, but I maintained my residence in Rocky Mount because I love Rocky Mount. And what I'm here tonight is to talk about the big investment that we have in this community. And that is an event center that we hope, and I speak for, I use the word we, because I hope it's for everybody, we want that event center to be successful. We want it to really be the spark plug that can bring new light shine to Rocky Mount. But we also need to know how it's doing. Ex-banker, I helped a lot of businesses here in Rocky Mount area as well as Raleigh and other parts of the state start their operations. They had a business plan. A lot of times we had to meet and revise the business plans because either the operations were not going as well or sometimes the operations were going better than the original plan. We are the taxpayers. We are going to be paying for the debt service of this event center. And all I'm asking council is share with us the results of operations. And if it's not what you want it to be, come and show us how you're going to get it better. That's all I ask.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Gloria Davis. Please state your name and your address, please.
My name is Gloria Davis, and I live at 1812 Lynn Avenue in this great city of Rocky Mount. I would like to express my appreciation for all of the city council members who are ending their terms, those who have been newly elected, and those who have been re-elected. I thank you so very much. I am here because I want to reiterate that we have had a lot of agendas before the new council members came in, and I would like to see those agendas continued. And I'm going to say we, because we as the citizens would like to work along with you, and for you all to work along with the citizens. We would like to be informed of everything if we can, to try to have our input into whatever decisions that are being made, because we have a lot of needs in our communities, and we live in these communities, and some of you all live in these communities. You live in a community anyways, and so we would like to have input into whatever the strategies or decisions that are being made for our communities. I would also like to see that there are more promotion for mental health and physical health. There are great needs for mental health. I am a mental health therapist, so there are great needs for mental health. And also, I would like to see the financial wealth spread over the city and over the counties here in which we live. And I thank you all for listening, and may you all have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. Mr. Linwood Gallup, and I'll ask Ms. Angela Bryant after that. Susan Perry Cole to follow her. Mr. Gallup. He's downstairs, so if we can move on to Mrs. Bryant, and we'll weave in Mr. Gallup when he arrives up.
Angela Bryant, 717 West Main Street, Rocky Mount, North Carolina. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. It's been a while since I've been here. I'm coming before you to appreciate both former Councilwoman Lois Watkins and our community. For Lois Watkins, for the courage and love of community and self-determination to step out on faith and replace me here in 2007, and for the citizens of Ward 4 for supporting her over these 12 years, to be the third Black woman to serve on this council. And by doing so, enabling me to go to the General Assembly as the first woman from our neighborhood and our county to serve there. So sometimes we make history ourselves and we empower others to make history as well. I want to thank Councilwoman Watkins for her friendship, service, and leadership, housing development in our community that have been neglected for a generation, parks improvements, and empowerment of our neighborhood organizations, and for her support in working to save the Nash Rocky Mountain schools. Your support, or her support, of neighborhood development, downtown development, and economic development will always be a part of her legacy. I am proud of her service, and I want to congratulate her and her family for the sacrifice and for a job well done. And to Councilman Tom Rogers and Bridget, I want to thank him and them for their leadership. And I want to thank Mayor Combs, my classmate, and Catherine for their outstanding service to our community, and for all of those stepping down for their commitment to fairness and equity across our community. May God richly bless all of you as you retire from this particular position of service, and I'm sure go on to do many other good things in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bryant.
Good evening. My name is Susan Perry Cole. I live at 251 Rose Street. And good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. To those who have ended their term of service on the City Council tonight, as a resident of the city, I would like to express deep appreciation and respect to each of you. I personally viewed public service as a privilege and an honor. However, I can imagine serving on a municipal governing body and providing leadership to that body can sometimes seem very lonely and like you're not appreciated, like a thankless job. However, I know I speak for many other residents that are present in the chamber tonight. We are deeply grateful for what you have accomplished to advance the common interests of the city of Rocky Mount and its residents. Thank you very, very, very much. Now, to those of you beginning your tenure on the City Council tonight, I want to congratulate each of you and wish you best wishes for a very successful term of office. Now, speaking as a 35-year resident of the city's underserved, disinvested neighborhood, I want to encourage members of this newly constituted council to remain engaged with neighborhood residents as you consider strategies and policies to improve our communities and to create a more equitable city. Notice I'm assuming that this is what you are going to do, and I'm doing that very intentionally. We are interested in your ideas and what your thoughts are on how we can improve our neighborhoods. However, let me stress this. Please, please, please seek resident input and ideas before, and I want to emphasize that, before you move forward with your leadership on these concepts and ideas. I look forward to working in partnership with each of you and continuing a partnership with the City of Rocky Mount and its staff. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Gallup up here. After that will be Samuel Battle and Robert Ferris. And after that will be Johnny Cunningham. He is downstairs, so it's time to get up here.
Thank you. I am Linwood Gallup. I am a new resident of the Central Ward here in Nash County. I moved into this city about 9 months ago. Since then, and this is what I would like to bring to the City Council's attention, I have been running around this city trying to find employment in an internet world that has a lot of spam jobs. They're jobs that they're not real jobs. I'm an electrician by trade skills. I'm a martial arts instructor. my skills is needed in the city. And I am struggling to find employment in the city. I decided to look into your numbers to find out some things that is going on in the city. And the numbers really doesn't look good. This city is 62% black, 30% white. Around average, the unemployment rate around the black community is around 46%. 46%.
46%?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry, let me correct that. I am adding the unemployment and underemployment rate. Poverty rate is around 46%. Okay. Gender-wise, this city, it does a lot worse. Women in this city is 54% of the population. Well, 44% of the population, of women population, are in poverty. 44% are in poverty. Now let's compare both of those to the white population. Only 8% of the white people here are unemployed. That is a huge disparity in employment. A huge disparity in employment. Also, like I said, I do have internet service, but it seems like about 44% of your residents do not have internet service, even black people. So those that don't have internet service is about the same rate as the 44% of the women that unemployed. What all of this means and what I get to, men are more likely to be hired at 2-to-1 rate over women in the city. Whites are more likely to be hired in a 2-to-1 rate over blacks. And men are paid 1.5 times more than women. What I am asking for is for a task force to look into this problem to get an understanding of what is going on. Something severe is going on in this city as far as employment. Thank you for your time, sir.
Mr. Bowden, please come out, state your name and your address.
Samuel Bowden, 216 Oak Street, North Carolina. My concern is about Ashland County and the Roses parking lot. I listened to a gentleman last week from the Walnut Shopping Center. How people keep stuff out there in front of it look terrible sometimes. One thing I can say, that parking lot look way better than the Roses parking lot. Look like somebody's driving a bulldozer through the parking lot, poles are falling down. It's been like that for the last 10 to 12 years. We need to do something on our side of town in Ashland County, because the Rosen parking lot is terrible. You can ride by there and see what I'm talking about. Like the gravel's coming up by the old Jenkins store. The Daughtridge, years ago. The building is falling apart. Two months ago, kids was inside the building when the window was busted inside the building. Now we got people sleeping in front of the store over there. People are just coming to Rocky Mountain, panhandling everything. New York is sending people down here, and we ain't enforcing nothing about it. You don't know what type of people are coming to the city that's coming from New York, homeless and everything like that. They're sitting on the highway up there by Nats General Hospital begging for money at the intersection. The one who jumped out there in front of the car, he wanted to get paid. And we allowing this to happen in this city. Number two, Jenkins Furniture Store on Raleigh Boulevard. Windows are busted out, glasses all over the floor, over the ground. We need force code enforcement or something. It look terrible down Raleigh Boulevard. I had some friends come from Bertie County, want to buy some property. Soon they get in the Rocky Mountain, they say it look good out there by Bojangles. When they get deep in there, like, what's going on? I said, you drive around right down Raleigh Boulevard, it look terrible, man. The houses are not done and nothing. And they laughing at me. Hey man, it's the way the city is. Edgecombe Mountain is the same thing. You got potholes all back there, people how the rental property back there is terrible. You got people living in filth, trash is spilled everywhere at Edgecombe Mountain. That's on Edgecombe County side. It's on Edgecombe County, you can't get this on Nash County side like that. What we doing up? We training our people to live that way? Our people need to be educated in them neighborhoods like that. And neighborhoods like, you can go to Edgecombe Mountain, you can ride down Raleigh Boulevard, you see this every day. And ain't nobody's gonna fix it or nothing. In Meadowbrook, on Glendale, you go out on 43, the railroad track is tearing people's cars up across the railroad tracks. The street is
Thank you, Mr. Battle. Mr. Ferris, this is Robert Ferris. Okay, Mr. Johnny Cunningham.
Johnny Cunningham, 546 Maryville Street, Rocky Mount. First of all, I want to congratulate Mr. Knight and progress that Mr. Bruce that has been made in our impoverished communities. And to make one correction, that store on Raleigh Road, that glass has been replaced. That whole building has been rehabbed. Virginia old furniture building, so that glass is no longer broken out. But I do want to say this. I stood here to advocate on behalf of black poverty. And the previous council heard that cry. And now you have, I want to thank you for initiating job opportunities that we are working on right now as we stand here. And as this chamber's food. We're working on affordable housing, decent rental property. We're working on healthy eatings and gardens in our community. We are beautifying our community. If you miss the uniting train, then you wouldn't know what's going on in our community. Second, we do not accept pity, handout, second to none, things that you don't want, things that you can't use. We are tax-paying citizens. We have the right to have what that previous council did, injecting $500,000 into our communities. Money and capital that we can work. We don't need unity to rebuild, restore, re-educate, revitalize our communities. We need capital, just like anybody would need capital. And this council, before this council, saw the need and addressed the need and initiated the solution to our problems. Ms. Smalls, I want to really apologize to you. And this is really why I'm here. You have dedicated your soul, your spirit to the citizens of Rocky Mountain. And the way you was drugged through the code, through the social media and these websites. And you know what? I'm going to tell you right now, I couldn't have done it. The resolve and the strength and the determination and the commitment that you had, even in the midst of losing both of your parents. I thought humility and humbleness and forgiveness would take place, but the attacks on you intensified. But yet you didn't do it.
Thank you, Mr.
I want to thank you. This is a question.
Thank you, Mr.
Why would anybody want to get rid of her?
Thank you, Mr. Cunningham. So next we have Elaine Williams, Maury Minges, and Nathleen O'Ree. Ms. O'Ree is downstairs. Okay.
Good evening. Before I get started, I'd like to ask the officer, have anyone delivered any roses out there. Thank you. My mom always said to give me my flowers while I can smell them. Show me your love while I am here. So we stand tonight. Some of us are probably in other rooms, but if the ladies, if you would please stand. So we stand tonight to honor our dear former Councilwoman, Lois Watkins. For the past 13 years of service, as a councilwoman, you have been a shaker and a mover in this city. Your accomplishments speak for themselves in Ward 4 and throughout this city. So we appreciate you, even though tonight is bitter, sweet. Like you said before, the sweet outweighs the bitter. For the past 36 years, we have had an African-American female on the council. There's 36 roses floating around out there somewhere to represent the 36 years. Even though it appears to be an end of an era, know that with 2020 right around the corner, it is really the dawn of the day. We really appreciate you. We thank your family for coming. We appreciate them really showing up. And we just pray that the Lord continue to bless you and your family in every area of each of your life. You have done so much for Ward 4. And I'm sure it will continue with our new city council. But we really appreciate your service that you have served us. We look forward to whatever the Lord has for you in your next era, because we know that your step has been ordered, and we know that there's something still great out there for you. So I just say thank you for your service. We love you, and we wanted to say that on this side and not wait till some other time and we're standing up sharing words of expression. We wanted to share it with you on tonight. Thank you so very much. And now there should be a presentation.
Bob Ferris would come down. He had to come up from upstairs. Called him earlier.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate the patience of the council.
You can state your address.
My name is Robert Ferris. I'm a lawyer in Wilson. And actually, I'm here to speak to 19A on your agenda, the rezoning request. That's what I put down.
Well, I tell you what, if we can table that until the item comes off. This is for a generic public hearing, so
that's fine.
If we can do that, that would be great. Thanks very much. Okay, Maury Minges.
First of all, thank you for pronouncing my name right. I would first really like to say good luck and lots of wisdom for the new and the experienced council people. Main word is their wisdom, because you've already got the luck because you got voted in. My real concern is I read in the paper today about the event center, and the city of Rocky Mount had to pay how many thousands of dollars for somebody's screw-ups? I mean, number one, I really would like to know, does Rocky Mount or the Florida group, who's running that event center? Who, since we had to foot the bill, I guess it's in our pocketbook. So who who hired the people that obviously didn't really know how to cross their T's and dot their I's, that we had to pay all these people that we promised stuff and didn't give to them? What? I'm an art teacher, formerly. I'm a small business woman right now. And even I know that you have got to put your best foot forward when you start something. And I know we've never had anything that big, a facility to hold whatever they hold there, but obviously we don't even have somebody smart enough to figure out how many tables and tablecloths for people to come to use our event center. That just stinks. I don't know who hired these people, but you hired the wrong person. Also, I would like to hope that the city of Rocky Mount kind of gets more involved in our education system here. I have a beautiful, blue-eyed, blonde-haired little 3-year-old granddaughter. And with even being a former art teacher with our school system, public school system, I'm not going to let my granddaughter go to a school that has D's and F grading. What the hey? Back when I was teaching in the 70s, we had Superior. Even one football game, I was going to the bathroom when the intermission for the band, and my students told me to sit down because the band's coming, because they were so well known. Well, we're not well known for anything. But anyhow, I would like to say, please don't litter. And that person that said Edgecombe is...
Thank you, Ms. Minjusi.
Sorry, bye.
Ms. O'Reilly?
Good evening. My name is Nathlyn O'Reilly, and I am the third vice president of the local branch of the NAACP. And I stand before this esteemed...
Would you read your address into the record? Come on.
Sir?
Would you read your address into the record?
1713 Beverly Road, Rocky Mount, North Carolina. And I would like to thank the outgoing administration for the fine job that they have done in managing our wonderful city. It is a beautiful thing to end an administration on a positive note. And I am welcoming you, the newly installed and returning administration, and expressing the high hopes of the NAACP for continued peace and increased unity of our nation. And I always love to read the mission of the NAACP, which is the mission of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People is to secure the political, educational, social, and economic equality of rights in order to eliminate race-based discrimination and ensure the health and well-being of all persons. And I stand before you to let you know that the NAACP is on our side, the side of everyone, for equality and fairness for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Kim, 2, last but not least.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Koo, and my address is 220 South Englewood Drive, Rocky Mount. I actually wanted to start out by reading this, but I wanted to bring the attention to folks in the council that there are at least 50+ people out there who have no audio visual, and a lot of people left. And I think that it's kind of disrespectful for our council not to take into consideration that people did take their time and effort to come here to be part of this event and had to leave because there was no audio visual. I also wanted to thank Ms. Teresa Alston for allowing some of us to hear it through her direct streaming through Facebook. Thank you, Teresa. And first is that The end of this year marks the end of the terms of several members of the City Council, particularly Mayor Coombs and Council members, Ms. Watkins and Mr. Rogers. Thank you for willing to take the time to serve our city and its communities. And congratulations to the new Mayor, Mr. Roberson, and new council members Walker and Daughtridge, as well as to returning members Knights and Joyner. I hope we can work together to uplift all of our citizens in this city and correct past injustices by increasing attention and resources to the poorer communities. This can only be done with consultation from people who live in these communities, and I'm sure you all will welcome more input from all of us as we continue to exercise our democratic rights and participate in self-governance. It is said that the greatness of the city is reflected on how well the most unfortunate of its citizens are treated and how reparations are made to heal old wounds that will continue to fester until they are taken care of. Contradictions will never go away unless they are resolved in a timely and correct fashion. I hope this new council will reflect such greatness. Recently, Fayetteville raised the wages of the city workers to $16 an hour to enable many of them to live within the city as possible. Given this example, I hope Rocky Mount will also consider raising the wages of the city workers to above merely survival rates. On top of that, I also hope that the new council will improve the working conditions and allow city workers to organize so they can be heard when they raise questions regarding workplace safety, abuse, and discriminatory practices on the part of management. I'm sure you will agree with me that this is not only about good governance, but also about having a satisfied and happy workforce within the city, a new way to enhance the city's prosperity. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Okay, this morning we've moved on to item 19 in our agenda. That's consideration of the minutes and recommendations from a regular scheduled planning board meeting held November 12th, 2019. I'll ask for an overview of the request to the recommendation, and then we'll open the public hearing.
Mayor, members of council, Will Deaton, Director of Development Services, City of Rocky Mount. The request we have before you tonight is recommended by staff for approval. Also, the planning board recommended approval unanimously. And what you have is on the northeast corner of North Church Street and West Highland Avenue, a request to go from B2 to B5 commercial, consistent with zoning, commercial and industrial uses in the area. And I believe you heard earlier, Mr. Ferris is here answering questions.
Okay, any questions? That said, we'll open up the public hearing. Mr. Ferris, I believe you were here to speak.
Mr. Mayor, let me start.
Yeah.
Y'all met me a minute ago. This is my client, Ms. Richardson. And she is the person who requested this rezoning that was approved by your planning board. And to our knowledge, there's no opposition to it. We don't have anything to say about it, except to ask if there are any questions that you might have of us about it.
Being none, I tell what we'll do is we'll ask and see if there's anybody else here to speak on this particular matter. If that be the case, then we can move on. resolution. Is there anybody here to speak regarding item 19 on the agenda, public hearing relative to the request by Ms. Richardson, Ritchie's Auto Group, rezone 0.52 acres located at 515 North Church Street from B2 to B5? Being none, I'll ask the council what their pleasure is.
Moved. Second.
That being said, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Like sign? It's passed. Thank you.
Thank you. And congratulations to all the candidates and you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, item 20 on our agenda tonight is consideration of resolution confirming assessment relative to the preliminary assessment roll prepared to recover costs incurred by the city in connection with housing code enforcement on the following property. The public hearing was held on November 11th, 2019. The property is 302 Middle Street. The action today has been to defer from November 11th to 25th, and 2019 City Council meetings. You want to elaborate, sir?
Good evening again, Mayor, members of council. We have had discussions with the property owner based on some conversations we've had that caused us to table this with the police chief, fire chief, myself, and staff from community code. At this point, we are recommending, staff is recommending approval of that assessment as presented.
Move to table, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, there's a motion to table. Second. Being said, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion's been tabled. Item number 21 is consideration of lease agreement with the Zella Battle for approximately 572 square feet of space in the Douglas Building at 209 Northeast Main Street in the historic Douglas block. 2-year lease, $500 per month with an option of 3 one-year extensions upon at least 90 days written notice.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I don't have a problem with the, with what's in front of us. I think what I would like is, because it lists the square footage, costs, and so forth, which I appreciate the manager and her staff doing, but I think as a new council member, I would like a listing of all the property and leases that we have within the city-owned property, with the detail, who's leasing it. I think here it indicates Chandler Rabel is, I guess, the management team that we have. Is that something we can get?
Oh, sure, we'll make sure that you receive that.
And is this consistent with the rest of the leases that we have?
It's consistent with the rest of the leases along the Douglas block, yes.
Okay, so maybe not other places. Okay, thank you.
So are you asking Councilman to amend the?
I'm not asking for an amendment, I'm just asking, this is an opportunity to ask for all the lease property we have in Rocky Mount. And with detail, preferably in a spreadsheet, but that's just because I'm a spreadsheet guy.
I like spreadsheets too, so that's exactly how you do it.
And just to be clear, making sure that the motion that's on the table is to approve it. You're fine with that, you've asked for additional information. All right, we have a motion. Is there any other discussion requiring the motion? Being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Takes us to item 22, water assessment contract with Calvin Douglas Williams for water service at 316 Rouse Road. $2,132.50 for water meter capacity tap, partial main fees prepaid, with the remaining $2,132.50 remaining for main fee to be assessed. There's recommended action to approve the contract and authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute same on behalf of the city. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Those in favor, acknowledge by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Item 23 on our agenda is consideration of Parks and Recreation Grant application to the North Carolina Division of Water Resources. Water Resources Development to assist with Battle Park renovations. The grant's $199,000, 50% cost share, reimbursement not to exceed $200,000. Staff recommends overmatching with existing 2024 capital funds, roughly 591, is that right, Stan? Okay, to increase competitiveness of current and future applications. The recommended action is to approve the grant application, local match, and authorize submission by application of staff, and to authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute required documentation certifications.
Move the approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
And I would also like to ask the manager or the department head in that case to speak to the competitiveness of those grants that would move us to increase our match.
Is there any?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. And I also have the grant administrator here tonight as well. Yes, by overmatching, we anticipate applying for future grants in the spring. We want to use CIP funds because that would allow us to leverage those funds. For example, part of it's coming up in May. We can apply for up to $500,000, but by the action tonight, we'll be able to use the funds if we get this grant to leverage those funds, and that will be the city's match as well.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, request, could we ask, just for the benefit of the folks that are gathered here, when we talk about Battle Park renovations, can you just sort of give the overview of the scope of the impact that we're wanting to make in that part of our city?
Yes, we want to make a large impact. When I say we, I'm speaking on behalf of the citizens. And so what we anticipate doing first is actually having a master plan. And so we're actually negotiating with firms now on a firm to decide on who's going to conduct the master plan process, but it'll involve a lot of public input. So we'll have several meetings. That's actually required for us to even apply for the grants, is to have public input. But we would like to change that makeup and make it more active and more user friendly. This right here is just the first leg of that process, and that's why we want to leverage the funds for future use, because by doing that, we'll be able to leverage city funding. There won't be a lot of city money involved. We'll try to use as much grant match as we can.
Any additional questions?
Well, I would also add that the plan would be to renovate existing greenway, the boat ramp, canoe launch, fishing piers, those kind of amenities as well. So it is a long process, as the assistant city manager has stated, but at the end of it, we would like to see more amenities in Battle Park. And of course, if we're successful in Battle Park, then it would be our intent to move it around to other parts throughout the city. While maintaining the naturalness of that park? Yes, yes. We do understand that, and that's a very integral part of the master planning process. Thank you.
I also believe that we've discussed in times past ensuring that Battle Park becomes a connector for the roadway that the Greenway connects to, and letting that become sort of a launching effort, so to speak, for downstream as well as upstream. Because though that river still runs through, all of Rocky Mount as part of our great history, but we also want to be able to plan for a more vibrant future and economic benefit all up and down the entire area.
That is correct, and that's why this project is so integral for the city. That's why we want to have professionals to assist us with the master plan process, get the public input. But this initial grant is just for that first leg, just that first phase. But future is really endless. Just depends on what we come up with. But I'm excited about the project, and thank you all for tonight.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. It's been seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Item 24 is consideration of a bid for City Hall renovations to development services. Award to A.R. Chesson at $698,403. Includes a base bid of $544,641, with the alternate one storefront equaling $36,296, with an alternate lobby of $101,522,000, and second, you get the fourth alternate. So, with that said, does anybody have any commentary they want to provide to the council? Okay, all right, that being the case, is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second. Any discussion? That being stated, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say aye. Okay. Is there any other new business that we need to discuss?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we discussed in our committee of the whole meeting in reference to our attorney giving us a statement to the citizens that are present here tonight in reference to the public record information that we requested by the Rocky Mount Telegram, and some of it was factual and some of it was not. And so I would like for the attorney to speak to that information that was shared in the local newspaper, and let our citizens know that we are working hard to get that information to the newspaper as soon as we can.
Thank you, Mr. Knight. I'm happy to do that. The public records law requires that the information be provided within a reasonable period of time. It does not specify a number of days or a number of weeks when that information is required to be provided. A reasonable period of time depends on the volume that's involved in the public records request. Those records, and I'm speaking now with respect to the emails, have to be reviewed because some of those emails have confidential information that is not public information. For example, no personnel information can be put out that is protected and confidential. Information with respect to possible economic development is not a public record until it is introduced and has a public hearing on it. No medical information, confidential medical information is contained in those emails. There's other information perhaps involving ongoing litigation that has to be looked at. There is a huge volume of emails that the Telegram has requested, and I suspect you are referring to that, Mr. Knight, the Telegram public records. I believe the first batch of emails were over 6,000 emails were delivered last week. We're trying to refine our process so that we can get them out quicker, but it's a lot of information. It's going to take time, and we're going to produce them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any additional new business for us to consider? That being the case, do I have a motion to adjourn? Okay. Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'll do the other half, you know.